As we know, since March of 2020, we've been in a completely virtual world. Whether it's for work, learning, or even our social lives, for the most part, we're living it through a screen. Hey y'all, I'm Addison, and today we're talking about virtual fatigue. Now let's dive in. According to Psychiatric Times, virtual fatigue can be defined as tiredness, worry, or burnout associated with the overuse of communication platforms, specifically virtual ones. So how does virtual fatigue work? Virtual fatigue is impacted by three main hormones: cortisol, which is known as the stress hormone, oxytocin, which is known as a feel-good hormone, and melatonin, which is known as a sleep hormone. Due to the pandemic, our bodies have been under a constant state of stress, and because of that stress, we've produced more cortisol, which isn't good for us. And because we're not able to have that person-to-person interaction with our loved ones or just anyone, it can make it really hard to produce oxytocin. And lastly, because of having to look at our screens all the time, whether it's our laptops, tablets, or phones, we're exposed to more blue light, which delays the way that our body releases melatonin. So today, we're going to hear from a group of individuals who usually are impacted by virtual fatigue, but we don't get a chance to hear from them. Young people are the most affected for a variety of reasons. And today, we've brought on a few people to talk about their experiences with virtual fatigue. So let's get a chance to hear from them. I have with me a young student to share their experience with virtual fatigue.
Hello, my name is India. I'm a senior at Virginia Wesleyan University in Virginia Beach. I'm double majoring in psychology and English, and I use she, her, and they, them pronouns.
What has been your biggest challenge since having to start learning virtually?
I think my biggest challenge is probably, well, one, just keeping up, because I've never sat at a computer this long. I don't even know how to use technology like that. So to sit here and try to keep up with all these technical issues and things that we're doing and Wi-Fi issues, and I'm worried about that first, and then I end up missing whatever content I'm supposed to be getting from class, and so I'm kind of behind, but we're getting through it.
Do you believe teachers or professors are being understanding of virtual fatigue? And if not, how could they be?
But I'm always saying yes and no, because I think they're being as understanding as they possibly can for themselves. But past their own limitations, I wouldn't say that they're very understanding, because so many people expect us as young people to just know how to work all these computers and things like that, and not a lot of us do. I was never properly taught how to do all these things. I'm just slowly figuring it out for myself as I'm in college. When it comes down to it, we're just as confused as you are.
What are some of the symptoms you've experienced from having to be virtual for so long?
My eyes burn so much. I don't like blue light glasses and things like that. I should probably get some. I just don't have the time to think about it. I'm a lot more, I'm already tired quite often, but now it's just even more from just sitting inside. My body hurts so much, and I miss the sun. Yeah, it's just a lot all at once.
We've heard from a student, but now let's hear from a young professional.
Hello everyone, my name is Q Garcia. I use they, them pronouns. I work mostly in the nonprofit field and also as an administrative assistant.
What are some symptoms you've experienced from having to be virtual for so long?
Something that everyone can probably relate to is just general sense of being exhausted no matter how much I sleep. It doesn't seem like I can get a good break from screens. It still just really weighs on you having all of your interactions be virtual.
Do you believe your coworkers and supervisors are being understanding generally of virtual fatigue? And if not, how could they be more understanding?
Yeah, that's a tough question, because I think everyone understands that it's really tiring, because it's tiring for themselves too. The problem is that there's not much room for change. So there's definitely a general sense of understanding and fatigue, but there's still expectations. I think something that could be really helpful from supervisors is just having patience and maybe canceling meetings when they're unnecessary, or having them be bi-weekly, or a no camera session could be really helpful.
Have you been able to complete your work in a way you feel proud of despite the effects of virtual fatigue?
I'm a person who really loves community and praise. So I definitely have been able to complete things, but there's just this sense of loneliness in my work, and it definitely isn't as high quality as I wish it could be. I definitely think that there's still a lot I'm learning in this post-COVID world.
We've talked about what virtual fatigue is, who's impacted, and we've heard from some folks in their experience. And all of it sucks, but there are some bright sides. Now, we're going to share some tips with you on what you can do to help combat virtual fatigue. One is actually building in breaks to your day. For at least 15 minutes, no screens. That means no Netflix, no YouTube, no Hulu. Just take a second, read a book, write something down, go outside, but change it up so you're not staring at a screen all day. The second thing is, if and when possible, try to take a break and do a phone call instead of a video call. Not everything has to be on Zoom. 3, create a routine to help you separate your morning from your afternoon from your evening. Because nothing feels worse than having your day feel like, you woke up and then you went to bed. Even though this has been kind of the past however long we've been in this pandemic. Another tip is using nighttime modes on your phone. Usually that looks like a dark mode, or it can be a nighttime mode like the iPhone has, where it makes your screen tint yellow, so it makes it easier on the eyes, and instead of seeing that blue screen, it sees the yellow. And lastly, make sure you make time for yourself. And whatever that looks like, it looks like for you. But if you want to binge watch that new show that you're wanting to watch, make sure you schedule time for it. You want to build in breaks to your day or build in time for yourself just as much as you're scheduling meetings or scheduling study time, because you are important too, not just the work you do. And I know I've learned a lot from them, and hopefully will try to take some home myself. And as we're on the subject of fatigue, I think it's time for me to head out. I hope you learned something new, and of course, I'll see you in the next one.